Mind philosophy discusses the insights from some of the greatest thinkers over time. It will also demonstrate how their wisdom can be applied against the complexities and challenges we face in modern society. It's how philosophy can be used as a vehicle to produce a better version of who we are and how we interact within ourselves and each other. As with most things of our nature, it is bound from the physiology of how our bodies are formed and the philosophy of how our thoughts are born. Yet, if we thought of our actions being solely from our makeup, well, most of us would be alike in our behaviour. Whether we realise this or not, we are creatures of habit. Habits for some are healthy. We get up out of bed, get ready for our daily duties, and rest at night after a fulfilling day. Habits for others can also, though, be our addictions. What causes us to be a slave to what gives us happiness? Understanding the forms of our habits and addictions starts with our physiology, the human brain. Put simply, our brain is a myriad of messages carried by neurons, and neurons release a chemical called dopamine. We need dopamine to survive. We would simply not rise from our beds without it. It helps us learn and be motivated in our work and leisure activities. When our brains release dopamine, it also links us with pleasurable thoughts and feelings. Dopamine works onto the areas of the brain that is responsible for positive emotions and our reward centre. We produce dopamine naturally in our daily lives when we listen to music, engage in social activities, keeping ourselves busy in our work or something we simply like to do. Dopamine is also something that we chase, something we constantly pursue, or even when we are distracted into things that relieve our stress and anxiety. This is when we turn to simple things like our phones, binge eating and drinking, gambling, nicotine, and for some, even drugs. When we turn to these things to give us stimulation, we are in essence chasing dopamine. This is how we form habits. This is because we produce dopamine through the euphoria of experiencing. It is also through the euphoria of repeating that causes addiction. And when we become enraptured by excessive dopamine, after we reach our incredible highs, we experience the catastrophic lows, where the mundaneness of everyday life sewers us of our energy, where one will show a desperation akin to whom is drained of food and water. And as our brains learn our activities, the dopamine we produce will then hold its temper, as we then elevate our efforts to a level beyond the last, till it is beyond our control. We are no doubt led by the chemical reactions of dopamine and other chemicals in our brain. We do, though, have an ability to also determine our lives and the choices we make. Our lives are beyond the physiology of appearance. There is also the philosophy of existence. Neurologist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl founded the psychology of logotherapy, where we can focus on how we can derive a meaning from what happens in our lives, even if it is through our times of upheaval and suffering. I've also featured more information on logotherapy and Viktor Frankl in this video. Press the link in the description or at the end of the video to view. When we overindulge ourselves into addiction, we in essence lose meaning of our lives, becoming frustrated with not being able to identify and accept life's difficulties. We lose our sense of worth by chasing a constant euphoria, enforcing a will to pleasure, as opposed to finding a resolution through the difficulties we face. As for how our brains produce dopamine for pleasure, as it does serotonin in our angst, is something we also build in anticipation, as it does through our experiences. As finding meaning in our challenges is something that is unique to each of us. Finding reason to accept life no matter what it serves, not needing to escape through overindulgence. What this tells us is there can be a means of fulfillment in our pleasure, as there is equally fulfillment in our suffering. It grows a defiance in our spirit. We know we will go to great lengths to attend to things we think makes us happy. Yet, if we draw our energies with the same intensities to understand our suffering, the fears that brings us into anxiety and addiction can dissipate. According to Frankl, happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. As our brain is the embodiment of a chemical that rewards us. Yet, by determining life's meaning, it is then left for our minds to nurture it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button and subscribe to the Mind Philosophy channel. Feel free to leave your comments so we can generate some conversation. A new video is uploaded each Wednesday, so I'll see you again on our next journey.